Pretending to be dumb might be the smartest thing you'll ever do. Sounds absurd, right? But according to Schopenhauer, wisdom isn't about showing how much you know. It's about hiding how deeply you understand. Because the more you know, the more the world punishes you for it. The smart one becomes the fixer, the responsible one. The one who sees the flaws is the one who has to fix them. Meanwhile, the fool lives in peace, protected by his own ignorance. The truth is simple and cruel. The world rewards those who seem dumb and punishes those who think too much. Short pause. This is the art of playing dumb, a strategy Schopenhauer understood better than anyone. Most people think being smart means constantly showing it. They think intelligence is a weapon, one you must always keep drawn. But Schopenhauer saw the opposite. Wisdom often hides itself, because when you reveal too much of what you know, you threaten people's illusions. You shake the fragile comfort they've built around themselves. And what do when that happens? They turn against you. They'll mock you, resist you, and label you arrogant. Not because you are wrong, but because you make them feel small. So, the truly wise learn to wear a mask, to blend in, to appear ordinary. Not because they are afraid, but because they understand that real power often comes from silence, not from showing off. You don't need to prove you're the smartest in the room. You just need to understand what everyone else refuses to see and act accordingly. Playing dumb is not weakness. It's strategy. It's knowing exactly when to speak and when to let others reveal themselves. Schopenhauer said that most conflicts, most envy, and even most failures come from the need to show superiority. So the art is to hold back, to observe, to let others underestimate you. Because when they think you're harmless, they lower their guard. They reveal what they truly think, what they truly fear. And that's when you gain real insight. You learn who's genuine and who's pretending. You learn where to move next without making noise. The fool speaks to be seen. The wise man listens to understand. And sometimes, pretending not to know is the most intelligent move you can make. Intelligence feels like a gift until you realize it's a curse. The smarter you are, the heavier the world becomes. You begin to see things others can't. Hypocrisy, manipulation, lies wrapped in politeness. You start to understand how fragile everything really is. The systems, the people, the beliefs, all illusions stitched together by denial. And the moment you see it, there's no going back. You can't unsee the cracks in society, the corruption in human nature, the emptiness in most conversations. You start to notice that people aren't really talking to understand. They're talking to confirm what they already believe. And the worst part? You can't share what you see, because the world doesn't want truth. The world wants comfort. The fool who lives in ignorance smiles more, laughs easier, sleeps better. He believes life is fair, people are good, and that everything happens for a reason. But you, the one who knows, you see the machinery behind the illusion. You see how often goodness is just a mask for selfishness. How fairness is an illusion created to keep people calm. And how most people don't want freedom, they want safety. So you start to isolate yourself. You become quieter, distant, misunderstood. People say you've changed, but in truth, you just stopped pretending. Schopenhauer understood this well. He believed that intelligence amplifies suffering because it makes you aware of the chaos. The fool swims in the river of life, smiling as the current drags him away. The intelligent one stands on the shore, watching the bodies float by, knowing he can't save them, and realizing that no one ever asked him to. Awareness doesn't bring happiness. It brings responsibility, and with it, exhaustion. You start to carry burdens that were never yours to begin with. Other people's mistakes, other people's expectations, other people's chaos. And the moment you show you can handle it, they give you more. At work, at home, in relationships. The intelligent are silently punished with more responsibility. Because competence is seen as infinite. The fool gets to rest. The intelligent burn out. So what's the lesson here? Sometimes, being smart means learning when to shut up, when to let others believe they're right, when to let the world move without your correction, when to act like you don't see what you see. Because the truth is, pretending to be dumb isn't about deceiving others. It's about protecting yourself. It's a strategy for survival in a world that rewards blindness and punishes awareness. Schopenhauer didn't hate intelligence. He just saw what it costs. And if you want peace, you'll have to decide whether you'd rather be right or free. There's a strange pain that comes with awareness. When you start to see the patterns behind human behavior, when you realize how much of life is driven by ego, fear, and pretense, you stop being able to live like everyone else. It's like seeing the strings that control the puppet show, and suddenly the magic disappears. You can't unsee it. You notice how people talk to impress, not to connect. How they chase things they don't even want, just to be seen wanting them. You begin to sense the emptiness behind success, the desperation hidden behind smiles. And while others laugh and move through life blindly, you watch, silently, with that heavy awareness that no one else seems to carry. It's not superiority. It's not arrogance. It's the burden of perception. Schopenhauer called it the curse of intelligence, the inability to be truly satisfied once you understand how shallow most things are. You can't just enjoy small talk anymore. You can't pretend to care about meaningless arguments. You can't unlearn what you've seen in people's eyes. And that distance grows. You start to feel like an outsider, not because the world rejected you, but because your mind moved beyond it. You learn to smile when you don't mean it, to nod even when you disagree, to play along because truth is too heavy for most people to carry. You become the observer, quiet, detached, watching life unfold like a play you no longer believe in. And sometimes you wish you could go back to innocence, to ignorance, to believing that everything had meaning and everyone was sincere. But that world is gone. Once you awaken, you can't go back to sleep. You carry this awareness like a shadow, always following you, always reminding you that knowing too much isn't always a blessing. It's a curse disguised as wisdom. At some point, you realize that fighting the illusion only deepens your pain. You can't destroy the world for being shallow. You can't fix people for being blind. And you can't unsee what you've seen. So you learn something even harder: how to dance with the illusion instead of resisting it. To move with the rhythm of the world without letting it consume you. You start seeing life like a play, everyone acting out their roles. The dreamers, the pretenders, the heroes, the villains, all believing their part is real. And you learn to play yours with awareness. You wear the mask, but you never forget that it's a mask. That's the paradox of wisdom. The more awake you are, the better you must learn to pretend. Not to deceive others, but to coexist with them. To protect your peace in a world that thrives on noise. You smile at the chaos because you finally understand it. You stop explaining yourself. You stop proving your worth. You become calm, detached, yet deeply alive. Because now, you act with understanding, not ignorance. You see the absurdity, and you still choose to dance. Schopenhauer said that the wise man walks through life as if it were a dream, aware of the illusions, yet unshaken by them. He doesn't cling to hope, nor drown in despair. He simply observes, and in that observation, he finds a quiet kind of freedom. You learn that peace isn't found in escaping the illusion. It's found in mastering your relationship with it. You don't need to shout your truth anymore. You live it, silently, gracefully, and that silence becomes your rebellion. There's a strange kind of power in being underestimated. When they think you're foolish, they stop watching you. They lower their guard. They speak too much, reveal too much, act without caution. While you, the fool, simply observe. You don't need to compete for attention. You don't need to fight for validation. Because the moment you stop trying to look smart, you gain something far more dangerous: clarity. Let them laugh. Let them believe they've figured you out. The world rewards appearances, not depth. And that's why depth wins in silence. You move slowly. You listen carefully. You play the long game while everyone else rushes to prove themselves. And when the time comes, your quiet understanding cuts through the noise like a blade through smoke. Fools chase recognition. The wise learn invisibility. Because when you stop being predictable, you become untouchable. That's the irony Schopenhauer was trying to show us. To survive in a world ruled by vanity, you sometimes have to wear the mask of the simple-minded. Not because you are weak, but because you know the cost of being truly seen. So you keep your thoughts hidden like weapons. You laugh when they expect anger. You agree when you already know the truth. And in doing so, you walk unseen among the blind. Remember this: the world isn't kind to the one who sees too much, but the one who pretends not to see. He becomes free, not because he's ignorant, but because he's wise enough to hide it. The most dangerous person in any room is the one everyone underestimates. When people think you're foolish, they stop watching you. They stop guarding themselves. And that's when you become free. Schopenhauer once said that the wise man hides his wisdom the way a thief hides his gold. Because in a world driven by ego, intelligence isn't power, it's exposure. Think about it. The moment people sense your strength, they start to test you, challenge you, compete with you. But when they think you're harmless, they show their cards. They speak too much. They reveal too much. They underestimate you. And while they waste energy proving they're right, you're quietly collecting information, learning their patterns, their weaknesses, their blind spots. The fool that plays the fool isn't a fool at all. He's the quiet observer, the invisible strategist, the one who lets others trip over their own pride. Look around. The world is full of people try to look smart. They interrupt, they correct, they dominate every conversation. They think they're gaining respect, but all they're doing is showing their insecurity. True power doesn't shout. It whispers. The silent man in the corner, the one everyone ignores. He's the one really in control, because he knows something most people don't. Attention is a currency, and when you stop demanding it, you start owning it. Pretending to be less intelligent isn't weakness, it's discipline. It's the art of letting others hang themselves with their own words. Every idiot who stays quiet knows one thing: silence can't be used against you. Words reveal, silence protects. When you're underestimated, you move without resistance. You're invisible to envy, to expectation, to blame. And that invisibility is your greatest advantage. In the end, pretending to be dumb is not about deception. It's about freedom. Because when no one expects anything from you, you can choose when, how, and if you act. You hold the element of surprise. And that, in a world of human chaos, is the ultimate form of control. As Schopenhauer might put it, to appear foolish in a foolish world is the highest wisdom. They say knowledge is power, but Schopenhauer would laugh at that, because the more you know, the heavier life becomes. Every truth you discover removes a layer of comfort and replaces it with awareness. Awareness of pain, awareness of chaos, awareness that nobody really knows what they're doing. The intelligent mind suffers not because it's wrong, but because it sees too much. It sees the manipulation, the hypocrisy, the endless theater of human existence. Meanwhile, ignorance sleeps peacefully. The man who doesn't question the system sleeps better than the one who sees its flaws. The woman who believes in simple answers smiles more than the one who sees through every illusion. The ignorant may live in darkness, but at least it's a darkness that feels warm. Schopenhauer knew this well. He wrote that the wise man isolates himself not out of arrogance, but out of mercy, because when you see reality for what it truly is, it becomes impossible to live like everyone else. You can't unsee the emptiness of small talk. You can't pretend to care about things that don't matter. You can't force yourself to chase illusions everyone calls success. So the wise withdraw. They disappear from a noise, not to escape life, but to survive it. Ignorance then becomes a kind of shield, a soft fog that protects the mind from collapsing under the weight of too much truth. And maybe that's why pretending to be foolish isn't stupidity. It's self-preservation. Because the moment you start seeing everything clearly, the world stops making sense. You realize that most people speak without thinking, argue without meaning, and live without knowing why. And that's when the greatest paradox of wisdom appears. The more you understand life, the less you can enjoy it. So perhaps ignorance really is a blessing, not because it makes you better, but because it lets you rest. It gives you peace in a world where the thinking mind is constantly at war with itself. To see everything is to suffer, but to pretend, to act like you don't see, that's the only way to stay sane. So, when they call you naive, foolish, or unaware, smile, because maybe you've simply learned the secret that Schopenhauer whispered to the wise. Only the fool sleeps peacefully, because only the fool does not know that he's dreaming. In a world that never stops talking, silence becomes rebellion. Everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants to sound intelligent. But the more they speak, the less they listen, and the further they drift from understanding. Schopenhauer once wrote that the world is filled with noise, but very little meaning. And maybe that's why the smartest thing you can do is say nothing, because silence is not ignorance. It's awareness. The moment you stop reacting, the world loses control over you. They can argue, accuse, twist, and shout, but they can't reach you if you refuse to play their game. Silence is a mirror. It exposes the loud. It reflects the insecure. It reveals what words try to hide. The fool believes that speaking gives him power. The wise man knows that holding his tongue keeps it. Pause. Every argument you avoid, every opinion you keep to yourself, is energy saved, and that energy becomes clarity, the kind that others spend their whole lives chasing. So stop trying to prove you're right. Stop trying to sound smart. Stop trying to fix people who don't want to think. Sometimes the greatest act of wisdom is walking away, letting the noise collapse under its own weight. Schopenhauer's silence wasn't weakness. It was victory, the kind of victory that doesn't need applause, because peace itself is the prize. Slow fade out. So stay quiet. Let them underestimate you. Let them talk while they drown in noise. You'll be listening to something deeper, the calm voice inside that knows. Those who know the least speak the most. Those who understand remain silent.